show you how the outcomes work from the admin side. We're going to go to our administrator side, and we're going to just take a click on Lookups and find our lookups. Once I click into that, and I always just do a quick search for V2. Again, we're working with the Outcomes V2 module, and so that's what I'm going to look for here. And I see these are all of the lookup lists that intersect with one another to allow you to put in that filtering that we talked about just a moment ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Outcome V2 lookup. This is my full list of outcomes in the system. I'm just going to, I find it easiest to sort of explain when I'm creating a new outcome. So I'm just going to name my outcome Xander's outcome. I have an option to put it into a list order. I have an option to make it active or inactive. I can also have a different name show up for the user than we have on the back end. We do have a goals module that allows you to indicate what the desired outcome is on a case when you first open that case or when you first do your case review, so that you can, really specify which outcomes you're likely to obtain on any one given case. Here we have outcome groups, and you can see it's set up with primary, secondary, tertiary, taxpayer savings, and additional. These are just the default values for outcome groups. If I went back out to my lookup list, I would see a lookup for outcome group V2, and I can add additional outcome groups. So if you want to group your outcomes by funding code, by internal outcomes versus external outcomes, maybe you want to track some information and some outcomes that funders don't need. However works for your agency to organize your outcomes, you can create those outcome groups and then filter based on those groups. Coming back to my Outcomes V2 list, and then offered the outcome value category. If you'll remember back to where we saw for child support lump sum amount and for child support monthly recovery, the $sign that came up when we selected each of those, that is actually set right here. If I select the lump sum avoidance for Xander's outcome, and maybe I also want to select monthly recovery, if I select these two, when I go to add that outcome to a case, I'll see $2 fields, one for lump sum avoidance and one for monthly recovery. Also, you can specify the outcome value categories. So just like we had a lookup list for outcome groups, there's another lookup list for the outcome value categories where you could add different value categories that you need to collect, or you could take away ones that you don't. There's also the primary reporting categories, which mirror the legal problem categories. We have consumer finance, education, employment, family, health, etc. We also have a financial benefit type that allows you to group these by the type of financial benefit: bankruptcy, child support, food stamps, foreclosure, etc. These are used heavily by some IOLA and IOLTA funders. So if you are funded through those agencies, you'll be familiar with that. If you are not, you can use whatever reporting and category and financial benefit types you find the most useful. This is where we would set the problem code. And again, we're just setting the problem code of cases where we would want to see this outcome appear. So just as we had outcomes for child support recovery, we may only want those to appear in situations where the legal problem code has something to do with child support. Same thing, you might have noticed that there was an SSI outcome or two in that list, you may only want that outcome to appear where SSI is the problem code for the case. And you can set that right here. It's not required, but you can either, and so you can leave it blank. You can also select all. We have a set of additional filtering categories that mirror our primary reporting category, where you could only select one primary reporting category. You can select more than one additional filtering category and use that. You can also add subcategories. So if you have an outcome and you want to have additional options for that outcome, you can add those in the lookup list called outcome subcategories, and they'll appear here for you then to link what outcome subcategories you want to see when you select the outcome that we're creating here. I'm just going to go back up and make sure that everything that is required is selected for my Xander's outcome, and I'm going to select my secondary outcome group. Actually, I'm going to select both primary and secondary. And I'm going to hit continue. Even if you're not sure about using the goal feature, my suggestion if you're creating outcomes is to just say yes to making it a goal. It doesn't do any harm, and if you decide sometime down the line to use the goal feature, you don't have to go through and make all of your outcomes goals. So you can see here we've now added my Xander's outcome.